Alright, today we're going to look at T1's qualifying game for Worlds, which was the game 5 against KT. And of course, a lot of eyes were on the fantastic Yone engaged by Zeus later in the game. But in this video, I want to show you guys the little things that T1 did really well earlier on that led up to this point, which actually made it possible for them to win this match. Because to get into the position to win this game, they had to have much better map play than KT, and Zeus had to play the side lanes really well. This was to the detriment of KT, because with their kind of draft and their kind of team comp, they have to snowball this game in early to mid game. They have to get a sizable gold lead. If they don't get it, they will just get outscaled. Alright, so at this point KT is still in a pretty good position. They are like 500 gold ahead. They are trying to get the dragon right now. And notice already how T1 doesn't even try to contest, because they understand they really want to focus on cross-map play, so they want to avoid fights and early skirmishes versus champs like LeBlanc, and they want to play away from that and gain advantages somewhere else. So this is exactly what they do. And meanwhile KT is trying to focus down on Zeus as per usual. And this is something that they will try to do in this game a lot of times. I already have shown it a bit in the intro. They focus a lot on Zeus and try to break the game down through that part of the map. And yeah, right now, as I've said earlier, T1, they understand that they can't really fight that well early on, so they try to get advantage somewhere else. They go here to deny the MF, and Zeus is kind of on his own. So let's see how he plays it. First things first, what's really interesting already, because of course he knows exactly that Sejuani is there. They have spotted him earlier here. So right now what he's trying to do here is he's trying to clear the minions, so they can't dive him and they can't really gain an advantage there. So this is already quite interesting, because I think a lot of players, they wouldn't even try to do that, and they would just stay back. So he goes back instantly because he realizes that he is too late for that, and Camille instantly ults him, which is to be expected. Now notice he plays this really well, that's why I'm showing this. He buffers the Sejuani Q with his ult right now, so he gets to this position anyways, even though she hits it. Quite clean play by him. And then he instantly flashes the ult, so he plays this really well, nice outplay by him. Meanwhile, as I've said, MF gets denied the wave, and they can take some camps there and just in general pressure the top side. So all in all, this is pretty good for T1, and in general these kind of game states really favor T1, because when they just go even, this is winning for them with their team against KT, who barely scales. So now what happened is, Carrier transitioned his play from top to bot lane, because what they expect, I think at least they expected, is that KT, after the failed attempt bot lane, they will try to go top to secure their camps and then go for the Herald. This should be their plan, I think, and this is why Carrier kind of predicts this and already goes bot lane to get the turret with Yone in this timer, which is really good. He uses his tempo really well here. Camille can't really do much against this, I think. But now notice what's really interesting is KT decides, okay, we really want to fight. We really don't want to just trade things, we want to fight. I think in this case Herald would be better, but and camps would be better, but we see their game plan here. They really try to force it. So Alistair moves bot, Sejuani moves bot again, and she's basically not farming, not doing anything else, and Showmaker even TPs. So they really do anything they can do to create a fight here. And Faker responds with his TP, which is correct. And we can see how this turns out. They get a kill on Yone finally. We can see Faker barely doesn't get a kill here. But still a good response by T1. I think this is completely fine still for them. Just one kill for KT without any progression towards turrets or towards an objective. So they didn't even get a dragon earlier. And because KT didn't transition top lane earlier and try to force this play bot, it's really hard for them to be on time now. So T1 manages to get the Herald here, and KT realizes they are too late to really contest, also because of course Peanut decided to go for the dragon. So yeah, now I think the KT will start sweating a bit, because they don't get really enough out of all of this. Just look at the gold lead right now. They had 500 gold earlier, now they are 500 behind with a comp that has to be ahead at this point. It's really stressful already for them. And this also really shows that you can't just play for fights and kills just alone for that. You need to transition this to objectives or to turrets, at least to something. But yeah, like that, this is way too forced and it doesn't work. Okay, so we just jump ahead a little bit. And yeah, the game plan for KT is still similar. They just try to find a fight somehow. And yeah, so they all transition top lane right now, where most of T1 is. Even LeBlanc is just going straight there. She doesn't have TP and she doesn't stay bot, so she's sacrificing quite a bit just to join this fight. So this is all already planned. We can see this from the LeBlanc movement. So they commit a lot for this. And I don't really like it that much because they don't have a wave, like there's nothing really to play with. Mid lane is also not really possible. So what are they exactly playing for here? Not really anything. And this is just something where T1 already can decide, okay, we try to kind of get out of this. They fight a bit, but just enough until the rest of KT arrives. And KT, they get 2 kills out of this, which is quite decent for them. But is it really enough? Because they can't really push a turret afterwards. And meanwhile, Faker is just pushing waves and going for the second tier turret. And second tier turret, just as a reminder, is like, I think 675 gold or something, which is huge at this part of the game, which is more than 2 kills basically. And this is again just basically a good thing for T1 in the end. And also notice one thing, that T1, they never really try to go for any fights. They are not really that proactive here. And they really understand that they don't have to do anything like that. So this is really good by them. Okay, we skip ahead just a little bit. Basically, only we skip the replay. And T1, now they changed the lane assignments, which makes sense because Corki much safer on the top side and can push much better than the Yone. And again, we see a repeat of what we have seen earlier, which is KT trying to get to the Yone 2v1 and even 3v1 with the MF. When we look at the MF there, they even ping it, so they spot that MF is moving right now. And so at this point they know that KT is going for this play. And what's really smart here by Zeus is, as soon as he sees the ping, basically, he hasn't spotted the Sejuani yet, he instantly goes for the wave again. So he knows, because the MF is moving, he has to try something. And again, going for the wave is really smart, because then they can't get a turret after the kill, and it's much harder to dive. So this time it worked, last time it didn't, if you remember this. And yeah, he plays this again really well. We can go for it a bit more frame by frame. So he goes back here. He buffers again the Q, this time with his Q and not his R, which is always really good. Then he flashes the E. And yeah, the rest is pretty basic. But this is so much commitment from KT. 3 people for just a 1-for-1 without a wave. This is so fantastic for T1 at this point. They are so happy with how the game is going. Again, they get Corki or Faker. He's just free pushing his lane there with the rest of his team, which is not helping Zeus. If you notice, they play away from him, which makes a lot of sense. And so they get the turret top, and now they can even go for mid somewhat. I think, well, actually, this is just int. I take that back. Like, the thinking is that they can transition there and go for the turret, but this is just int by owner, to be honest. Not much to say here, just a gifted kill. But still, T1 is ahead. Faker can even TP bot, so they don't lose much there. And they are just really happy with this. And KT at this point, how stressful is this? You have a LeBlanc that won't do much in like 5 to 10 minutes, and you are behind in gold. This is just terrible for them. Skipping ahead a little bit again, we see the same situation that we've seen already multiple times once more, with LeBlanc now moving bot lane. And this time Zeus just backs off, because LeBlanc with 2 items really strong. And again, T1 in the meantime plays for topside and tries to find something there, while KT invests all of their resources bot lane, and Faker again pushes for the second turret. So you can really see a pattern in this game. It's always basically the same. KT doesn't really find good answers, and T1 really understands what they have to do. So like right now again, they didn't fight, they just backed off, and they are really happy with all of this. They are 2k ahead with an outscaling comp. At this point, basically the game is over. In the end, all of this results in this teamfight that we are going to see here, and this is, notice this is kind of the first time where T1 really tries to find a fight and even engages first with the TP first as well, and just saying let's fight this, because they understand at this point, 25 minutes in the game, they are ready to fight KT. Pretty good place here, we can look at it a little bit, especially from Zeus again. Instantly ease out to dodge the Sejuani ult, really nice. And when he goes back, flashes the Alistair combo and with DMF, so pretty good. I think a lot of players, they would play a lot more hasty. He's really patient and looks for the right moment. Yeah, and at this point the fight is lost for KT. Really, the thing with the Camille is more of a mistake by Perfect than a good thing by Zeus. He ults at the timer of Yone E, and with a lot of skills they follow Yone E to his starting point. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, whatever you feel like, maybe leave a comment, and I will see you on the next one.